Before this video starts, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. Despite what I say in the intro, a majority of this footage was recorded over a year ago. Also, this video includes a lot of very fast time lapses, so just a heads up for any flashing lights throughout this video.
5 months ago, I started Project Nether Destruction with the goal of removing a 1000 by 1000 nether perimeter. In order to do this, I'll need to build a world eater, but unlike the overworld, I don't have any space to put this in the nether, so I'll need to remove millions and millions of blocks in order to fit this behemoth of a machine. So as you could probably guess, we're gonna need a lot of coral for these farms. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a coral farm. Also, on a side note, if you're wondering how I got this armor trim, I made a YouTube short explaining it. And right here, I actually have like everything that I need to build it. Alright, here we go. I found a coral reef, and I'm also going to grab some of the coral because we actually need it to be able to bone meal the coral itself. Actually, that reminds me, I don't have any bone meal. I'll have to grab some. And quickly what I'll do is I'll take a trip to the EOL farm storage, because I've got a lot of shulkers of bones in there for bone meal. I say a lot, but I guess most of the bones are like getting filled up into the shulker boxes. Here's another one, I guess. And while I build this coral farm, I'll also quickly slap a timer up in the top of the screen so that you can see how long this video takes. Because if you don't understand how long this project is going to take, let me give you an example. Take SB737, who made a 270 by 270 block perimeter. That project took him over 90 hours to complete. My perimeter is 16 times that size. Now, granted, he didn't spend that entire time working on the nether perimeter, but that still means that I will need to spend hundreds of hours on this project. And so now you'll see when I go ahead and get in the minecart, I have to aim an angle of about 4.8. And now I went back and grabbed a shulker box, and now I'm just going to fill it with all of these coral items. Now that I built this coral farm, I can actually start making these TNT duping machines. However, if I were to build it right now, you'd notice that mobs like the ghast and the zombified piglins would constantly get in the way while I'm building the machine. And if you didn't know, there's actually a way that you can disable mobs from spawning entirely. I already have one of these machines built up in the overworld, but basically, it uses over 70 shulkers to disable mobs from spawning by filling up the mob cap. And to make sure that this machine is constantly loaded, I'll build a quick chunk loader. There we go. Now the chunk loader is working, we can make the actual mob switch. Now I'll quickly grab my shovel, grab a load of soul sand, because if you didn't know, soul sand actually isn't a full block, so when we kick the shulkers out of their minecarts, they'll just teleport to the bottom of the soul sand. Then I made a track from the shulker farm to the mob switch, and now we have to get a load of shulkers into the machine. And now the mob switch is actually working, and the way we can test it out is if we fly away somewhere. And now you'll see there are literally no mobs spawning anywhere, so we can build this entire thing in peace. And now, as you'll notice, this giant hole that I made in the last video was actually here because we need to make what's known as a TNT tunnel bore. I created the same machine in the last episode, but I built it to build an even bigger one, and that's what we're going to be doing now. As you'll notice, this tunnel is pretty huge, and so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to build two separate machines. Because if you didn't know, the standard render distance only goes up to about 500... What I meant to say was that the standard render distance is only about 500 blocks. Therefore, if I built one entire machine, I would not be able to keep the entire thing loaded at all times. And even though I didn't realize it at the time, this was going to be the longest project that I've ever done in my world. And now to build this entire machine up and run it 1,000 times, and then repeat that process again.
Oh, brother!
Yeah, that happened way more than once.
And throughout this entire time, I was using the Hoglin farm for food. However, I had to keep lowering down my render distance to make sure that the mob switch wasn't loaded in while I used the farm. And at one point, I just completely forgot to turn my render distance back up, and I destroyed the entire machine. Yeah, I wasn't recording at the time, but as you can see from my recreation, that was my Elytra shulker box.
Bruh, you have got to be kidding me. But I'm running out of inventory space for all this stuff. Yes, finally. Whoops. Whoops. Why was it rain for a second there? That was weird.
And then I proceeded to enchant my Elytras with them breaking 3 and mending, craft a bunch of fireworks, and then finish up with destroying this entire area.
And finally, it is all done. Oh my goodness. You don't realize how large this area is.
For the record, I had to use this machine twice for every single block in this perimeter, and it takes me minutes to fly from one end to the other. It only took 117 hours. I really wish I was kidding when I said that. But actually, before this entire area is cleared out, I actually have to mine a bunch of basalt and blackstone, because if you didn't know, blackstone and basalt have a much higher blast resistance, meaning the TNT from the tunnel bore didn't clear nearly enough of the area needed.
And just like that, the entire area is cleared. And oh my, that took a while.
During this time, I also broke many pickaxes, which is why I decided to make a full shulker box of them.
And just like that, I have a full shulker box of max enchanted diamond pickaxes, which are now all netherite. Okay, I hope that transition was cool. That took a lot of diamonds and netherite to upgrade those pickaxes.
And well, let's just say that I've mined quite a lot of blackstone and basalt.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. Most of this TNT just left like a bunch of random floating blocks, so I'm just gonna quickly. And boom. What? Ah! There we go. Alright, finally every block has been removed. And now we can start with step 2.
Because you see, this machine only destroys the blocks in between the stations, not under the stations themselves. Therefore, I'd have to destroy two 16-block-wide trenches on opposite sides of the perimeter.
And it all starts with one machine.
Although it seemed these TNT flying machines were a little too effective, because they kept blowing themselves up.
Aw, come on. I do not have the situation under control. Ah!
So, to stop these machines from self-destructing, I quickly crafted some TNT so that I could manually destroy some of the terrain. You also know that mob farm that I spent a long time working on? Yeah, well, as of 1.20, the farm just does not work at all.
Alright, so I've just gone ahead and cleared out most of the lava at the very start, but my plan is, if I build those flying machines again, and then only use about half the TNT, and send off only half the machines, but there's a very low chance that they actually blow themselves up. And well, 7 days later, and we've destroyed quite a lot of this area, but as you can see, there is nothing but lava!
And that's when I discovered this lava removing machine by voiding. The great thing about this machine is that it sends flying machines downwards, which means the terrain doesn't have to be flat, so it can clear out different ravines and pockets of lava. But before I can build it, I'll need obsidian and fire res so that I can build walls around the trenches. Normally you'd build walls out of gravel, but I didn't want them to get exploded by the TNT. Whoever past me didn't realize how long building the walls out of obsidian would actually take. And then for the inner wall, I ended up using gravel anyways, because had I used obsidian, I would have had to mine it up later, because the World Eater can't have any immovable blocks in the way.
And now I've got a bunch of flying machine items, because now we gotta start draining the lava using some redstone flying machines. And now I'm actually just making a quick border where this basalt ends so that I know where to start building all the flying machines. One thing that's really annoying me is that while I'm trying to make this other gravel wall, soul sand just deletes it as soon as it falls, because if you don't know, soul sand is actually not technically a full block, so it's getting very annoying because I have to place the soul sand or the gravel at the bottom manually. Alright, and now I'll use my scaffolding to quickly drain all this lava here. And now, as you can see, I'm actually just cleaning up the rest of the lava. Like, there's a couple of these trenches over here. Wait a second, I know what to do with this clip here. Guys, I just got trapped on my 1 billion year hardcore world, and I don't know how to get out. Oh. Alright, and hours of braining later, and this entire thing is completely removed of lava.
And after sending the TNT Trenchers off again, I decided to expand the gravel walls, because I realized how much of a blast radius the TNT actually had.
You know, I kind of apologize, for how good this method is of clearing out lava. Yeah, I'm using an auto clicker. Sue me. And now finally I can press this button and send all the TNT dupers along. Okay, so I actually just ran out of totems, so I'm just gonna quickly fly over to the raid farm.
And hours of work later, and we finally finished the first trench. Yo, wait a second, I don't think that's how a replay mod is supposed to work.
Wait. I ran out of scaffolding again.
Yeah, that had been a constant struggle throughout this process. I kept running out of bamboo, so I decided to make a bamboo farm.
And I also want to quickly do something because one of my viewers actually asked me a while ago if I could name them one of my villagers. I'm sorry, I forgot about it, but I guess better late than never. You know what? Where is he? Aha. I'm gonna name this guy just cause, I don't know, he's just on the loose somewhere. Respect to him for making it out of the fence.
And I decided not to base this farm off of any tutorial or anything. It's really simple, it just uses a couple of flying machines that travel back and forth to cut down the bamboo. The most complicated part is probably just the minecart collection system. And last but not least, I connected the system with redstone, and added a collection system with ice and hoppers.
And now I've actually also placed in all the hopper minecarts. So if I click this lever, oh my gosh. That actually looks so cool. Ooh. And within like 5 minutes of AFK, I've already been able to craft 6 shulker boxes of scaffolding. And there are still like 3 other double chests that already have plenty of bamboo. And now we can go back to doing my favorite thing in the world. Raining lava. And actually, I'm working on making the sand wall, and actually, I just want to try something out. I've always wondered, since I have an auto clicker up right now, I've always wondered if it's actually possible for you to bridge with sand if you have a fast enough auto clicker. So, yeah, no. Oh. Whoops. And now I'm actually just quickly putting together a couple of machines the lava drainers that I use for the previous trench, because I'm not draining this all by myself. This is gonna take way too long with just scaffolding. Also, I just want to show something real quick. I just found this really weird glitch where you can actually place blocks above, like, so here, I'll show you. There's no scaffolding on top of this top piston. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of aha! Look, I just placed a block above my head without. Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool.
And a lot of the making of this second trench was very repetitive to the first, so I'll speed it up really quickly. And I know that I haven't actually finished this project yet, but I really underestimated how long this was gonna take, so I'm gonna have to put this into a 3-part series. And actually, fun fact, at the same time that this was happening, my PC was getting so full on storage that I literally needed to buy an entire new SSD just so that I could store all the video footage. And so while there is still more projects to do, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.